Okay, here's the countdown. Hope you guys are ready to start. Dramatic music is coming. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and boom. Starting the stream. And let's get a little round of applause going here. That's how we like to start things around here. Does everybody have bands today? Because we're going to be go over bands. Okay. This is kind of like when you go to graduation and they give you the bands if you're awesome. Yep, here we go. Here's another band. There we go. We got a nice blue band. We got ourselves a black belt. Cute little yellow one here. Just add a little flair onto there. All right, I think that's enough bands for right now, besides these bands. So we also got these bands as well, like casting that web. Let me go through what these bands are, okay? So these are all TheraBand bands, and they're all different thicknesses. So I would recommend having the thicker bands. So like Scott says he has medium, light, and heavy duty bands. But I don't think the light duty bands do anybody any good unless you're really weak and really frail and old, or like if you're in physical therapy and you just had surgery on your shoulder or something. Okay, so like this is the easiest band, okay? And I'll start showing you guys some band stuff, but hopefully more people will join so that we can, I don't have to show all these exercises again, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about the bands, I'm gonna talk about why we'd use the bands, and then we're gonna go through some exercises, okay? If you just had surgery, this yellow band is the easiest one. It's actually not the easiest. There actually is a tan colored one that you can get, and I've almost never seen that. I worked at about a dozen different physical therapy clinics, and out of those dozen clinics, I think maybe one of them I saw them have a tan one, and that's like super light. I mean, this thing pulls very easily, but when you're hurt, this band is like really hard for you to get going. The only reason why I have these bands is actually I got them from my grandpa. He had some of these bands, and and then there would be the red band is after that, okay? And then comes the green and the blue band. So I would actually recommend not going any lighter than the green band, okay? So make sure if you get TheraBand, here's the brand, okay? Let's see what they have available. They have all these different colors here. You could get them in like a roll, but really these rolls are just meant for, and let me know if I don't know if you guys can see my mouse here. Let me just check real quick. This is just a mess of a display. So you guys don't need any of these resistance loop bands really. If you're gonna get a loop band, I'd rather have you have a fabric band like this. These are called hip circle bands. This is by Serious Steel. I got this one off of Amazon. Well, there's a company called Slingshot that makes these bands, and these are really good for like working out your hips. Like when my dad got both of his hips replaced, he actually got one of these hip circle bands, and they had him doing that at his physical therapy place too, and I gave him my bands too to use here at home when he was rehabbing and stuff like that. So these little tiny loops, I mean, I'd rather have the fabric ones so it doesn't get twisted or rolled up, whatever. But this is more kind of like what you like right here. Okay, so green is like where I would recommend, as long as you're not like recovering from an injury or you're very old and frail, like, like 80 plus years old, and you're having issues, then I would say forget the green one, okay? I had to see where that landed. If that landed on one of my lights, it would have been having trouble. All right, so basically, most of the time that I'm using bands, I'm using the heavier duty ones, okay? So that's like, if you get the color blue, you really just know blue is the best color, okay? So you're starting to do the best stuff when you get to blue, okay? You're probably gonna need at least blue if I mean, you guys are my clients, you know that you're probably gonna need at least this, depending on the exercise, okay? Like say you're doing face pulls with this one, okay? Where you have this wound like this, and you have it attached to something, and you're pulling back like this, okay? And it's fixed to something, and you're pulling it back, okay? But Then it goes from there, it goes to black. Okay, black is really hard. And then I used to think that silver was the hardest, but actually it turns out that gold is the hardest. And I actually used to never see gold bands in the clinics. It was always black and silver. And it wasn't until I actually looked it up. I was training somebody and I looked up the color scheme and I found out that actually gold is the hardest color. So go for the gold if you can. Okay? But if you guys get these, you know, obviously we use these looped bands for pull-ups and stuff like that. Okay, so you got these really thick bands. Now these are loops. These are the kind of loops that you want to buy. Okay, this one's actually powdered. I have another one that's over in the corner there. It's hanging up, and I was planning on showing you guys assisted pull-ups if there was anybody in here who hasn't seen assisted pull-ups, but you guys know how to do assisted pull-ups, so maybe, I don't know, if somebody's watching this stream afterwards, they might want to know, so maybe I'll do it for the people who are tuning in afterwards here, right? So these are all going to be like different things that you can do. Okay, so big flies. And that's not asked, okay? That's not what you guys are thinking. There we go, yes. David said a funny, haha. There we go, David said a funny. It makes us happy. Okay, that's us, okay? Good TV show, okay, this is us. These two groups right here, body weight is better or preferred. So you got the bands, you know, it's like kind of like milking the cow here, okay? Except you just milk both udders at the same time, okay? So you could do this as like an ab exercise where you pull down and you have it attached to there and you feel the core because you're doing a slight hip hinge and you're kind of trying to crunch with it and stuff like that. But it's like, you know, it'd be a lot easier just getting on the floor and doing crunches and doing all that work that we do. So another one, probably the only ab exercise that I would recommend is that you do like those wood chops, okay? So like you have the band you have attached and you're doing this, okay? Or you're like doing the Pallof presses where you press out and you're resisting the band pulling you this way. And I'll show you guys those in a second, but there are actually, okay, so like bands are good for like isolation exercises for the legs, but like big functional movements like squats and deadlifts and stuff like that, don't use bands. Like just use your body weight or use like you know, traditional weights or something like that. It's gonna be a lot easier. But if you're doing stuff like you're trying to imagine this is my hip, okay, and I'm going out to the side like that, or I'm going to the back like that, and doing those little tiny muscles, the hip abductors, then you can use a band. These are your hip abductors right here on the side, right? So when you're going like this, okay, and you're raising, those are your hip abductors. Think of those as like the shoulder muscle, the same way that the shoulder muscles. Your shoulder muscle is called the deltoid, so you can almost think of your hip abductors as the deltoid of the hip. So if you're doing like, you know, raises like this, those little tiny isolation movements, those are really good for bands. Okay, so what I wrote here is that it's better for isolation movements, okay? Well, I'm gonna cover that up anyways because it's not really that important. Let me make myself a little smaller too. Let's write down all the exercises first, and then I'll show them to you guys, okay? Let's go through back, okay, right here. So we're gonna do rows, okay, like standing rows. Loop is preferred for that. So that's like the big thick loop. If you guys don't have the big thick loop, do you? This big thick loop, you're gonna want to use something really hardcore for that. Maybe not as thick as that one because that's the one that I use, but if you can use a loop, that's better. But if you can just grab two parts of each one of the straps and do a standing row backwards, that's great, okay? And again, I'll show you guys all these once we get going here, okay? It's another big one that you can do at the back, okay? You do a face pull. High row. High row. High row, everybody. Okay, so we got high rows, and then you got assisted pull-ups. Now again, these are if you already have a pull-up bar, and it's pretty inexpensive to get a pull-up bar. You know, it's like you can get the ones that just hang in the doorway. But anyways, these pull-up bars, I mean, they hang right, they rest straight in the. There's different kinds that you can get. Okay, so like this pull-up bar right here, you got to screw that into the wall. Okay, obviously, if you got a wall that you can screw it into, you got some studs you can put it right into. That's gonna work pretty well. I think they got this one's looking. Whoa, it's $71, $72. So that's pretty. This thing looks nice actually. It doesn't match my color scheme, so I probably wouldn't get it because of the orange. But I already have a sweet pull-up bar that I got. It's called the Jammer bar. This is what I have. in my house. I installed it over my doorway, and it's nice. It's it kind of it shoots out there a little bit, and you can get different colors. So I think I got the blue here. Anyways, so this is what I have. It's really nice. You definitely have to drill that baby into the wall. So it's not something you put in your living room, but it's really nice. But you don't need something like this, right? This thing is like, I don't know, if a bomb goes off, it's gonna be all right. So obviously, like, you could install it in here, but if you get like a thing for your in your doorway just that hangs over, like these ones, let's see, these ones look okay. A lot of these have different attachments. Honestly, the only one that I really like is like a neutral grip, like this guy's doing it right here. I like the ones that have like a neutral grip, like we do in the gym. Oh, it's saying that you can use it for push-ups and stuff, but anyways, let's see how this one fits. So as you can see, I can't show you with without it zooming in here. Maybe I can. Here we go. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see my little cursor. So like right here is where it attaches onto the top of the door frame. So if you just get one of these, I mean, it supports the whole person. Obviously you can attach a band to there, and you could use that for your banded pull-ups, right? Where are we at? Assisted pull-ups. So that's what I just showed you guys right here. That's with if you have a little thing to attach. But it's just like how we were talking about for the abs over here. If you had like the bar, maybe I'll just draw on here, okay? So you got the, here's the door, okay? And here's your bar going across, okay? And then you have like a band. Okay, so let's say you got your little band that you got looped around here, okay? So you loop it around there, and then you can grab onto either side here, and you can pull that down, and you can use that for your ab exercises, okay? So you could use that for, with this loop here, with a big thick loop, you could step in there, you know, you get like a little box, okay? That's a box, okay? And then your little guy here, voila. Okay? You jump up on there, and look at this. Look at this is some biceps on this guy. Yeah, kind of like an alien, okay? And then you do some, you can do some assisted pull-ups, okay? One arm pull downs, okay? And I'll show you there's two different versions of the pull downs that you can do. We'll talk about that. That's one where you're gonna need to attach it somewhere high. So biceps and triceps, you stand on you got your little guy here, okay? And he's standing on the band. Okay, and then the band goes up here to his arm, and he pulls that up, okay? So, there we go. Hey, look, I got this whole eraser thing figured out. This just in, David figured out how to use his eraser. More at 11. And then we got the a couple different tricep exercises you can do, okay? So you can do, yep. And I also like that you have a pull-up bar, Scott. Scott has the one from, this is the attachment that Scott has. Now this one actually goes into a bench. This is the Iron Master Super Bench. This is the bench that I have at home. Press down. Okay, I think that really covers the triceps. There's the standing one arm one, and then there's the two arm one. Okay, for shoulders, now this is, shoulders is interesting because it's actually a pretty safe way to load the shoulders. So it's like, that's for shoulders, okay? With the bands are safer than weights. And that's because like when you're lifting, when you're doing like an overhead press with a dumbbell, I mean, you could hurt yourself if the weight's like going there and you hurt your shoulder. But if you have a band and you're pressing, I mean, like you can like let go of the band. It might snap a little bit. It's not gonna hurt anybody, even if it snaps, like it snaps back down. And then it's like, it's accommodating resistance. So it's the hardest at the top and it's easier at the bottom. So when you're at the bottom, if it's hurting you or whatever, and you bring it back down, it's not going to keep pulling as hard after you've already messed up the movement. So if you're doing overhead stuff, it's actually a lot safer. All right, so there's different ones that you can do. So you can do the OHB, okay, that's overhead press. And then you can do some side flies, standing side flies. Okay, you can also do the front side flies as well. You can also do rotator cuff exercises. I didn't write that down before, but you can do standing front flies. Okay, and then also your rotator cuff stuff. There we go, pick a cute little color. This is Jim's favorite color. Nice lavender or something. It's a little lighter than lavender. Sorry about that, Jim, I know. You love lavender. It's a nice Easter, it's an Easter color, purple, you know, so. Okay, so for abs, we got, we have Pallof press and exercise. So this, let me just write this. This is anything anti-rotation, okay? We have the anti-extension exercise. This is called a pull down, like a straight arm pull down. And that is your anti-extension movement. So you're trying to fight against extension. Extension is like your body's becoming more upright and stuff like that, and you're trying to like drive it back down into flexion. Like an ab crunch, that would be flexion, but like leaning back and extending your back, that would be extension, okay? So when you're trying to prevent extension from like this, it's basically whenever you're using your abs and you're doing flexion, that's anti-extension. So like if you're doing a straight arm pull down, you're trying to pull down, and you're trying to prevent it from bringing you back up. So those are the two types of ab movements that you really do with core using like a band. And you have your hip extension. And then, so yeah, your abductors, your extenders, that's pretty much what you would use it for. I don't think, unless I'm missing something else. All right, finally, we move on to exercise demonstrations. Yeah, all right. Okay, and I'm gonna show you guys the exercises. I'm not sure who just joined us, but oh, I know who it was. It was John Cena. John Cena joined the chat. That's pretty cool. You guys know John Cena, right? And I'll show you guys the flies first. Okay, so I'm gonna attach this to my treadmill because I can't think of a better way to set this up right now, because I actually had it set up so my action cam would be hooked up to something there. So just imagine that this is a maybe a pole that you guys have in the basement, or you can always have somebody hold on to it, okay? So you can use this for a lot of different exercises, but for our purposes, we're just gonna have this. So basically a chest fly is where, you know, normally you'd have two of these and you'd bring them across together, but we're just gonna do one at a time, okay? So if you have two that you can attach to, if you have two different poles and you can do them to either end, that's great. If you could bring them both together, that'd be good. But basically this is the one we're gonna do. So you wanna have your arms straight. You can have a slight bend in the elbow, okay? If you need to get a staggered stance, like you're in a lunge, then you can do that. Or you could just, it's not really that much weight, so I usually just get like a horse stance like this, like you're riding a horse, and then you just go across, bring it across your body, and you squeeze. So you wanna make sure that wherever you end up, you're trying to pinch and get rid of the space in between your arm and your armpit. You bring it here, and you're always gonna get stuck right here, okay? If I had two, they would actually cross over one another like this, like a cable crossover. So that's one that you can do, and then you would just face the other side, and you're probably not gonna be able to see that, but you just go and you do on the other side too. So you have to do them individually. So that's a way that you could work on what's called horizontal adduction, where you bring it across your body, okay? Oh, you can do those flies from the top down like this. You can also go straight across like this, or you can actually go upwards like this, like an uppercut. But just make sure that when you choose your grip, that if you're going from the top, you have an overhand grip going down. If you're going from the bottom, you have an underhand grip going up. And if you're going from the side, it's just like you're slapping somebody. Just like you're slapping somebody. Yeah. I think I played the sound effect there. So a banded push-up would be like a way to make a push-up harder. So most people don't need to do banded push-ups. You guys really don't have to worry about this. But if anybody's watching this who's really strong, you can put this stuff behind your back like this, okay? So you can put it on like this. And you see how I have these pushing me on here? I can push out like this. So I can still, if I keep it right behind my back like this, I can actually push. Now you could actually do exactly what I'm doing right now without doing the push-up. You could totally do it this way, right? But I could imagine I'm doing this on the floor as actual push-up. Imagine I'm trying to make a push-up harder. This thing would actually make my push-up that much more difficult. So as I'm doing my push-up, it's actually resisting me, okay? So you could use it this way, but you need a really thick band for this. And you would need this looped band, okay? And then another way, if you wanted to go the other route, instead of making it harder using this, you could use one of my slingshot contraptions, okay? Okay, so the first one that you would use for push-ups to make it easier to the push-up motion is you would use one of these here, okay? These are called slingshots. And basically this one's meant for bench press, this one's meant for push-ups. This one's also kind of small because it has very small arms. I use it for a lot of the girls that I train when they're trying to do real push-ups and not push-ups from your knees. Obviously you can do push-ups from your knees, like there's nothing like wrong with that, except for the fact that it works a different part of the chest a little bit, and it kind of changes the angle. All right, good, the hair is good, so that's good. Can we get a round of applause for the hair? Yeah. That's good. I'm pretty sure that played the round of applause sound effect. Okay, so here's how the push-up works for this one. So this is a different kind of band, and it doesn't fit my arms anymore. It used to, but not with these pythons, you know? Anyways, so you'd fit it around here, and it go across your chest, and then as you're doing the push-up, it cradles you and makes it easier, okay? And you can see exactly how it works. See how she's got it right there? So when she goes down into this push-up, that thing is gonna cradle her and bring her right back up. Anybody who can't do a push-up, they can do it when, look at this old lady just crushing it right now. Okay, older lady, okay, she's not that old. Okay. She's more on the back 9 than the front 9, if you know what I'm saying, so. All right, so let's pick a band here. Now obviously, the best way for me to do this is to be like right here. I wanna be like right at this level, about the same level as my belly button. That's where I want to be rowing from, right here. But I don't really have an option on here. It's like there's a high option and a low option. I'm gonna go for the low option actually, because I'd rather have you pulling down from lower than from up high. Let me see if I can get this looped around here. That's another use of this treadmill that I got. If you guys ever get a treadmill that flips up like this, that's a good selling point. A lot of people don't think about that, but I think it's a great selling point. And I never knew that you could it gives me more space to work with, but also I guess I can use the underside of it as an attachment point, although it's definitely not designed for this. So there's this row right here, okay? So you can see I want to be at just the right height so I'm pulling back. And a lot of people, they instantly go for the high rows like this. You actually want to keep your elbows down low and right up against your rib cage and pull it straight back, okay? Now I could also do this with one arm rows. So I can do 2 arm rows like this, or I could double up the band and pull both sides at one time. It'd be twice as hard, okay? Or you take the looped band, okay? You put it through the loop like this, okay? And then you attach the loop to whatever, and then you do the same thing. You just pull back using the looped band, okay? Now this is really good if I'm doing the 1 arm rows, because I can attach it to something, okay? And I can pull back just with 1 arm. I put 1 arm and I just go like this. So I really like that. And then of course we got the face pulls that we do. That'll work, like the regular rows will work your big lat muscles and your biceps, and it'll work almost your whole upper arm and like the big back muscles, like your big lats. But if we want to target right in between the scapulae, we want to do face pulls. And face pulls need to be done higher. So for the face pull, I'm actually going to put it up at the height of my face, and I'm gonna pull it back at the same height as my face. So I'm actually gonna pull it, and I'm gonna pull it doing a high row like this, and I'm trying to squeeze my shoulder blades together. I'm trying to keep my wrists, my elbows, and my shoulders all the same plane, okay? So I can also use an underhand grip like this and pull it back, and you see how it kind of forms like a W? You wanna make a W and kind of pull back that way, okay? And then we also have the 1 arm pull downs, okay? So 1 arm pull downs are where I'd have to be a little bit more like this, probably kneeling. Normally you could just do the standing, but you just pull it straight down. So I would just pull it straight down like this, and I would try to squeeze right underneath my armpit and flex my lats. So I would just pull down like this, and then you can also do it, you just kind of pull it down at an angle like this. It's the same thing, but I'm letting my elbows bend. So I'm using a little bit of my biceps, but this is a little bit like, you can kind of feel it crunch on the side. It's almost like you're doing like a side crunch, like a side bend at the same time. You're digging down. And this can be done on both arms at the same time if you had 2 different pulls, but most people don't have that. So you're probably just gonna have to use 1 pull. Scott says my band is blue. Scott has this one right here. This is the large, okay? The large one. And this one's actually meant for, it's not designed for push-ups, it's actually meant for bench press, but you could totally use it. It's just a little bit wider and thicker, and it's a little bit better for bench press than push-ups, but you could totally use it. It works about the same way. But there is a difference. There is a push-up model of that, and that's that red one right there. Red's not really in my color scheme, but I had to buy it, you know. You know I'm all about the blue color scheme. And we're gonna try to do the next one. So I'll do biceps and triceps, okay? When you're first starting out, you probably wanna use blue, but especially for the tricep stuff. But basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have this laying down here, okay? I'm gonna lay it down on the floor. I'm gonna step on it. And now I have it right here. I can wind it as many times as I need to. The more I wind it, the harder it gets, okay? But if you wind it so much that you need it to be that much harder, just grab a heavier band. I mean, you don't wanna be winding this thing because it's gonna start cutting into your hand more. Anyways, I just keep my elbow right by my side here, and I'm just gonna curl it up, okay? Now, it doesn't matter if I lean forward or anything like that, like it would for a dumbbell, because a dumbbell, the strength curve would change as I change my body position, because you're changing where gravity is always running this way, and you're changing the vector. But anyways, this way, it's like no matter if I'm standing up or if I'm down here, it's going to be the same amount of tension. Okay, it's going to be the same amount of tension throughout the whole movement. So it is a novel kind of way of training, because you have constant tension, kind of like a cable. So just basically imagine any gym exercise where you normally use cables, you can use the bands instead, except the bands are accommodating resistance. So as there's constant tension, but that tension changes. So like as I get to the top, it actually gets harder. And then you can do the same thing for triceps, where you step on it, you go overhead like this. Okay, I'll face this way. And you just do the same thing. You probably want to support your shoulder by holding on, and then you can go up like this, and you could do it that way. That's not really my favorite way of doing triceps though. My favorite way of doing triceps is doing it this way. Like I can attach this to that pole that I have over there, the pull-up bar, okay? And you basically just keep your elbows in close to your body. Remember, this is not a straight arm pull down. This is a bent arm pull down basically. So you keep your elbows bent and you go straight down. And you want to just make sure when you get to the very end, that's the hardest part, you want to flex your triceps, which is the underside of your arm, as hard as you can, and just hold that, and then come back up. You guys can see, this is very difficult. I doubled it up. Now that's a good exercise right there. That's very difficult. Just make sure that you keep your elbows close to your body, okay? So let's move on to shoulders, okay? So we have our overhead press done standing. So I really recommend using these kind of bands for the overhead press. You could, like you just stand on it and you could just press straight up like this, okay? But you're probably gonna wanna use like a real thin little band that's smaller than this, like a looped one like this. And let me take this off of here. I got my little handle. These handles are real cheap too. All this stuff is very cheap. It's like 20 bucks for like any of these bands, like 15 or 20 bucks. These are like 15 bucks, 20 bucks, something like that, okay? Very inexpensive, but very versatile. If you just have an attachment point, it all works out. And again, if you don't have a bar to use, just have somebody hold on to it. Have your partner hold on to it. Put it around their neck. Like, you know, Margie, you know, you just put it around Jim's neck like this, okay? And if he starts giving you crap, you know, just start the exercise and there you go, okay? So basically when you do the overhead press, you can stand on it on both ends like this, okay? And you're not gonna be able to see because it's gonna get cut off here, but you can use it just like this. You just kind of get it like this. Oh, now let me back up a little bit. I can't go up too far because, yeah, anyways. If I go any further, it's gonna cut off the audio here, okay? But basically you just press straight up like this. Okay, you keep it in front of your body, and this is resting on my, right, see where my sleeves are? It's gonna rest right where my sleeves are, right in the middle of the arm, and you press up like that, okay? Now, while we're here, you can also do this for squats. So you can go like this and use it for squats, but I wouldn't recommend you using that for squats. I'd rather have you use weight or just body weight, but if you have one of these bands, you can use that for squats. So that covers legs too, but like I said, if the worst thing that could happen when you're doing that overhead press is that you lose control, but with the bands, you lose control of this band, it goes limp, okay? So like it'll be taut at the top, and then when you get down to here, it's loose. So you don't have to worry about messing up your shoulder. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So we're gonna do the side flies and the front flies. So for the side flies, you're gonna stand on it. Okay, so I just lay down a little strip of this. I step on it, okay? And then you don't want to choke it a lot. You don't want to choke up on it a lot. Just give me one or two winds, and it's really important to find the right resistance band. And you're just going to go up to the side, and this is going to work the side of your shoulders. This is one of the only muscles that's missed when you do like push-ups and you do like rows and pull-ups and stuff like that. The side of the shoulders is what you miss out on, and you want to have nice toned shoulders. So let's go up to the side here to 90 degrees. We don't need to go up any higher. Just go to 90 degrees, and then you can also do, by the way, that's with my palm facing down to the ground like this. Okay, I don't have my thumbs up or thumbs down. It's right neutral here as I'm going to the side. And then there's also the front raises that you can do, okay? So you wind it in the front, and you just, like you're shaking somebody's hand, okay? Nice to meet you. Okay, you can do a handshake here, handshake to the side. Just don't go all the way to the side like this. So you can go like 0 degrees, 45 degrees, just don't go 90 degrees. And you keep your thumb up, that way you load the front of the shoulder, okay? And you can always do like one arm stuff too, where you're like rowing back to work the back of the shoulder, but that's kind of covered when we did the face pulls. Okay, so these are actually really good way to build up the shoulders. So like when I'm done doing all my side flies with the weights, and I'm too tired to do weights anymore, a lot of times I'll switch over to bands because it's much more controlled, and I feel the tension and it's a lot easier to control. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Do you guys have any questions on shoulders? Where do we leave off? Oh, rotator cuff stuff. Well, okay, so rotator cuff stuff, I'll try to quickly show you guys that. Okay, so like rotator cuff stuff is where you're doing like the external rotation, but honestly, if you're doing like those face pulls that we talked about, you're getting plenty of external rotation, so that's the main rotator cuff exercise. But basically, you can even do this just like holding on to the band itself, but you can just go like, you can go out like this and do rotator cuff stuff. This band's a little bit too hard. I would probably choose like this band or something like that. Okay, and you just go from here to here, get the external rotation. But the better way to do it is you throw it around something, right? And then once you got that thing there, you just go like this. Okay, so imagine this is attached to a pole or something. I just externally rotate like here. I don't lift my elbow away because that's a big, this is a row, okay? Let's say like a bow and an arrow kind of thing, right? We don't need that. We just need this elbow pinned right up against our side, and you're gonna externally rotate so it's right in front of you. You don't have to even go out this far, just keep it right in front of you. And you could do that one. You could like prop this up on something and pull it this way. It's the same thing. You're getting that, it's like backhanding. That's what you wanna do. You don't really have to worry about doing internal rotation. And when you're doing this one, going across, that's gonna work your other part of your rotator cuff, the supraspinatus. You'll work that one anyways while you're doing those side flies, so I really wouldn't really worry about that. But the external rotation, that's the cuff stuff I was talking about. I'll write it out for you guys. Oop, this upside down. So if you have your scapula, okay, and this is your scapula has like a little part in the middle called the spine, and it's, so like, let's say this is like your arm, like that, and this is the neck, and this is the back of their head. Okay, so this is their right arm right here. The supraspinatus would be like right, I can't really get another color because this thing's all messed up, but like right here above the spine, that's your supraspinatus. The other one that we were working right here, right where I'm drawing, right underneath, that's the external rotators. So that's the teres minor and the infraspinatus. That is an external rotator. So that's the external, when you're going out, and you're going out like this, that's infraspinatus. This is supraspinatus. Anyways, that's what I was talking about. So we're almost done, guys. The Pallof press and the anti-rotation, the straight arm pull down. So straight arm pull down is pretty straightforward, literally. It's straight forward in front of your body, okay? So this one, unlike the rows where you pull down separated, this one, you wanna have it start so that like instead of your arms being apart, you bring them together like this, and then you pull it down like that. So when you bring your arms together, that's a better way to load it up. So even if you just had one thing you're holding on to like this, and you're pulling it down like that, that's gonna be doing your anti-extension exercise. So you're flexing, it's trying to extend you, but you're doing an anti-extension movement. And then the next one, the Pallof press, we've talked about that before. That's where you'd have like a handle here, and you'd take this, and you'd push it out in front of your body, and it's trying to rotate me this way. It's trying to pull pretty hard, and obviously you'd want to have it like even with your body. You wouldn't want to have it up here. I'm just being lazy. I'm not putting it on the bar right there. Okay, I should have it on that bar. All right, let me do it real quick. It's not like I'm lazy, it's just this cord is not reaching very well. Okay, this thing's trying to rotate me this way, but I'm keeping it out in front of my body. This makes it easy, this makes it harder. So you push it out like this. You can also stir the pot. You can also you can do rotation like this. But a lot of times I'll just take it here and I'll walk out with it to make it harder, and then I'll make it easier going this way. And I'll walk out and I'll really engage my core for anti-rotation stuff. Those are your 2 core exercises that you can do with those. And then for legs, we got hip abduction and hip extension. So what I want you to think of with these is the same thing as the arms, okay? So we went out to the side, we went out in front. You can also go back like this. But for the hips, we're just gonna focus on going to the side and going backwards, because those are the small muscles that we need right in the side of our hips to create pelvic stability. And the way that you get that is you would attach the band to your ankles, and then just like a skateboarding motion, you'd go back this. So imagine I have the band attached to me, and I'm just going like this, and I have the band attached in front of me, and I'm pulling it back. That's gonna work my butt, hip extension. And then if I go to the side, and I have this around my ankle, okay, like this, and it's pulling from the side, and I'm going out to the side like this, I would just stand there, and I would pull out to the side like that, okay? Just doing this standing is a really hard challenge. It's actually challenging this hip abductor and this hip abductor. But if I added a band, it would make it that much harder. And you'd have to attach that band almost to the ground, like on a pole. It's like if you don't have a pole for all this stuff, you need to get a door anchor, okay? So a door anchor is one of these. I have it over there, I can't get it right now because it's hanging up on that rack. But I can't get to it because my mic won't reach. So there's these things called door anchors, and I think I have this one right here. This is my cheapo one. I have one that I got from Rogue too. It's called a Rogue door anchor, I think. Yeah, but you see what you do with these things. Now this one's really nice. This one's like 30 bucks, but wow, this thing is amazing. It comes with this really big carabiner clip. But basically what you do with these door anchors is you stick them in the door. Okay, so you wedge them into this door, you close the door, and then all that's sticking out is like these little, so it's sticking out of the crack of the door here. And then you could use them for all sorts of different exercises. So if you need it to be at a certain height, you can just attach the door anchor right to where you need it. Here's a good picture of it. So you put this top part here in the door. This is the part that sticks out with the carabiner clip. You just feed your band through that, and then you instantly have like access to any angle that you would need, because you could put it at the top of the door, you could put it on the side of the door. You can't really put it at the very bottom of the door, like underneath the door, but you could just put it on like almost at the bottom of the door and still have the same kind of results. But a lot of times for exercises where you need it attached to the floor, you could just step on it, so you don't really need like a door anchor to get it done. Now these are the same. This is the same thing too. These door anchors here, these are just cheap ones. This little wedge, this is the little wedge right here, the foam thing that you feed it through, and then this is the loop where you put the band through, and you can see it's pretty easy for people to use this as an alternative for like a pulley system. So you just attach it in there, and look how much fun she's having for only $7.99. I should get my own sponsor for the door anchors with how versatile they are. But see, she just stuck it in the door there, and those things hold up. They don't damage your door at all, and they're adorable, really, pun intended. So hopefully that gives you guys a good feel for how you could use that stuff. I think we covered everything. Oh, there was one I forgot. There was one more I forgot. What was that last thing? Oh, it was the one that I didn't mention that I really, really like for building up the rear delts. So like the back side of your shoulder. Remember I said you could go like this with the face pull and the high rows? Well, actually one of my favorite ways to work that out is, and I'll do this like right in the middle of my sets when I'm working on my back, just to kind of tire my back out. But you basically just take this thing, you wind it, okay? And there's all sorts of stuff I didn't cover, like there's these diagonal movements and stuff that you can do, like sword drawing kind of techniques like this. But basically you just take the band, you put it out in front of your body, and you just pull back like this until it hits you in the chest. And you gotta keep you can't bend your elbows, you gotta keep them straight, and you just pull back, and that will really work like right in between your scapulae, right in between those shoulder blades, okay? So that's one that I missed from the back, but that one's great. Definitely do that one. And there's other ones that you could do, but those are like the primary ones I want you guys to focus on, okay? So let me try to bring this back to home base here, all right? Because we've been going for probably, I don't know, 3 hours or something like that. Got a little special surprise for you guys. We gotta really get into the mood here, you know? We gotta add on a little blue screen here, okay? I can't hear this thing anyway, so I'm gonna take this off. There we go, now I'm on vacation. Just kick back, relax. So what you guys can do, if you so desire, is go to this link up here, okay? onelifetolift.com/shop. Now if you enter that in and you use this coupon code, okay, the coupon code is Paulie. That's right. We got our little buddy right here, Mr. Paulie. Look at that. Use that coupon code and you'll get at least $4 off your order. I think the shipping is, most of the shipping is like $4 or something like that. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Appreciate it. Okay, so that was just a small portion from one of my 2 to 3 hour long Facebook live streams. If you guys want to catch one of my streams, follow my page on Facebook at facebook.com/onelifetolift. Go ahead and give it a like and you'll get notified whenever I go live. If you like this kind of content, check out the other clips I have on my Stream Clips playlist here on YouTube, and if there's a topic you'd like me to expand on, sound off in the comments down below. If it's something that I can answer quickly, I'll respond in the comments, but if it's a bigger topic, I may even make it a video in the future for my YouTube channel, or just do a stream on it. I'm always looking for new suggestions since there are so many juicy topics to cover, and as always, make sure to subscribe for more of these videos, and I'll catch you in the next clip coming right up.